Most new candle makers start in the wrong place. Some think the business is about the jar, the label, the logo, or the packaging. But the reality is none of that is what makes someone buy, reorder, or build loyalty to your brand. The scent does that, and most new makers are choosing the wrong ones. I'm Shane McGrath. I co-founded Ikoya, one of Australia's most recognised home fragrance brands. And I now run Luxe Aroma, where we manufacture and supply premium fragrance to thousands of product makers globally. In this episode, I'm going to show you the fragrance profiles that actually make you money in 2026, why most makers get their scent selection wrong, and how to build a launch range that drives repeat purchases from day one. Starting with the most important mindset shift. Your personal taste isn't a business strategy. Too many new makers choose fragrances because they personally like them. That's fine if you're making candles for yourself, but if you're building a brand, your job isn't to pick your favorite scents. Your job is to build a range that customers can understand quickly and buy repeatedly. Think about it this way. When you walk into a supermarket, you see a product you've never heard of, you make a snap judgment. The packaging helps, the price helps, but if it's a scented product, the name and the scent profile are doing most of the heavy lifting. If the name is familiar, you already have a reference point. You already know whether you like it or not. That familiarity removes friction from the buying decision. When you launch with obscure, hard to describe scents, you're asking your customer to take a risk. They don't know what it smells like. They've got no emotional connection to it. And unless they can physically smell it before buying, they'll often choose the safer option. This is especially important if you're selling online. Your customer can't smell your products before they purchase. They're buying based on the name, the description, and the trust they have in your brand. If the name is unfamiliar and the description doesn't help them visualize the scent, you've lost them. The solution isn't to be boring. The solution is to be strategic. Choose scents that have proven commercial demand and then find ways to make them uniquely yours through your branding, your naming, and your storytelling. So on a practical note, before you finalize your range, search your top 5 scent choices on Google Trends and on the major candle brand websites. How many of them are already in the ranges of established brands? If the answer is most of them, you're on the right track. If you want to browse the scents that are actually selling right now, Luxe Aroma's full range is linked in the description. Over 500 options, no minimum order, and everything's been tested for real-world performance. So you already understand how important commercial scents are. But if you don't also couple it with the next one, you still won't know what to actually buy. Let's talk about the specific fragrance families that drive commercial sales. When I look at what sells across the Australian market and globally, there are 8 fragrance categories that every launch range needs to cover. The first is the fresh, clean scent. Think lemongrass and Persian lime. This is the scent that makes people think clean home, kitchen, bathroom, spa, fresh air, summer energy. It's easy to understand, easy to gift, and has broad appeal. It works across almost every format. The second is the familiar floral. Think Japanese honeysuckle or lotus flower. This is the safe floral. Pretty, feminine, giftable, and recognizable. Works for Mother's Day, teachers, birthdays, and a classic candle buyer. Every range needs at least one of these. The third is the tropical escape. Think coconut lime. This sells because customers instantly understand the mood, the beach, the summer, the holiday, fresh, fun. It's a strong impulse buy and works well for seasonal ranges. The fourth is the Gourmand comfort scent. Think vanilla caramel. This is indulgence, dessert, warmth, comfort, home. It's got a strong emotional pull, especially in candles and melts. You might not personally love it, but it definitely sells. The fifth is the fruity crowd pleaser. Think French pear or lychee guava sorbet. Fruit-based scents are commercial for a reason. They're sweet, familiar, and broadly appealing without being polarizing. They make excellent year-round sellers. The sixth is the celebration or gift scent. Think sparkling red raspberries or anything that evokes a special occasion. This gives customers a buying reason. Birthdays, bridal showers, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day. Easy to merchandise and easy to name. The seventh is the nostalgia scent. In the Australian market, think mustics. This is a memory, childhood, Familiarity, emotional connection. These scents perform exceptionally well because they trigger a powerful psychological response that goes beyond just liking the smell. The eighth is the premium or beauty-inspired scent. Think Teak and Neroli or Amalfi Coast. These are scents that make your range feel elevated. They signal quality and sophistication, and they attract customers who are willing to pay more. Now, I'm not saying to copy this blindly. The point is to understand why these fragrance types sell. Once you understand the commercial job of each scent, you can build a smarter range. So on a practical note, map your current or planned range against these 8 fragrance categories. Do you have a fresh, clean scent? Do you have a gourmand? Do you have a celebration scent? If you're missing any of these categories, you've got a gap in your range that's costing you sales. It's interesting over the years how many businesses I've seen not include vanilla scents. Sure, they're very personal and you either love them or hate them, but it's crazy not to include a vanilla scent in your range because they're so popular with certain people and they sell so well. So it's not just about what you love or what you like, it's about what the market likes. And never forget, you're building a business here. I've certainly seen people over the years include too many of one category because they love fruity scents. And they'll have 5 or 6 fruity scents, but they'll miss out on all the other important ones that actually sell really well. So try not to think just what you love or what you enjoy burning in your house. Select a scent from each of those ranges is going to give you a much better chance of making a successful brand. So knowing the fragrance families is important. But if you don't also couple it with this next one, you'll launch with a range that's hard to grow from. When you're starting out, you don't need 40 fragrances. You need a tight, commercially balanced range of around 10 to 12 scents that give customers clear reasons to buy. If I was starting out again in 2026, I certainly wouldn't launch with 40 fragrances. I wouldn't choose scents just because I like the names. And I definitely wouldn't assume that a beautiful label can rescue a weak fragrance. I'd start with a small, balanced range across proven fragrance families. 1 fresh, 1 floral, 1 fruity, 1 gourmand, 1 tropical, 1 local or nature-inspired, 1 nostalgic, 1 premium or beauty-inspired. Then I'd test, listen to customers, watch the reorders, and then double down on what sells, because that's the real lesson. You're not just making candles, you're building a fragrance business. And in a fragrance business, the data tells you everything. Watch carefully which scents get reordered. Watch which scents get mentioned in reviews. Watch which scents people buy as gifts versus which ones they buy for themselves. That information shapes your next range decision. The other thing I'd do is make sure my supply chain can support rapid testing. If you're waiting 2 weeks for fragrance samples, you're moving too slowly. You need a supplier who can get your samples fast and in small quantities so you can test and iterate without committing to large stock orders. So on a practical note, if you're launching, start with 8 to 10 scents that cover the fragrance families I just described. Order small quantities, make test batches, and get them in front of real customers. Then track which ones get the most positive feedback and the most repeat purchases. That then becomes your core launch range. This episode isn't about picking nice smells. It's about choosing fragrances like a business owner. If you want to explore Luxe Aroma's current top-selling fragrance oils, head to luxearoma.com via the link in the description. We've got over 500 scents in stock, all tested for performance in wax with no minimum order and same-day dispatch. See you on the next one.